Welcome to Dog Life Radio.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Dog Life Radio. This is Rossi Giugio, that I'm sure of, but I think this might be episode 50. I'm not 100%. Doesn't really matter, though, does it? But welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm looking forward to it. This is the first, true content-rich episode. We had our little 2018-2019 wrap-up preview type of thing that dropped. But this is the first real episode, and by real, I'm tackling a real issue. I see lots of people asking questions about this. It's the age-old debate. Should I join a gym or should I buy the equipment for my house? It's that whole rent versus buy thing. So I'm going to talk a bit about some of the pros and cons with each of them because they both have them. But before I get into it, I just want to take a moment and we are going to pay some of those quote-unquote bills. Now's part of the show where I get to remind you that you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, all at Dog Life Radio. And if you are such a diehard fan of the show, remember you can now get merchandise. That's right, Dog Life Radio merchandise. Just go to sixsquirrelstudios.com and check out the store. That is 6 squirrel singular SQUIRREL studios.com. When you get there, take a look at the upper right hand part of the screen and you will see the Six Squirrel Studios store. Check it out. You can get t-shirts, stickers, hoodies, all kinds of cool stuff. So get your Dog Life Radio merchandise there. And lastly, not only do I appreciate you taking the time to listen to the show, remember to subscribe or follow, depending on, whichever podcasting service you utilize, but also drop me a rating on iTunes. Hit me up with a 4 or 5 star rating. It's the best way for people to hear and find my show. That's aside from you guys spreading the good word. And as always, don't be shy about sending me some feedback at dogliferadio@yahoo.com. Thank you. All right, so I wanted to throw out a precursor to this conversation. So that precursor, if you will, is there is no exercise program, whether in a gym or in a home gym, that will overpower a shit diet. So throwing that out there so everybody understands it. This conversation today is really going off of the approach of you're at a point, all things considered, in a vacuum, however you want to look at it. What do I do? Do I join a gym? Do I buy some stuff for my home? I'm going to assume that you're tackling it in an appropriate manner, meaning you're getting your diet under control first because, like I said, it doesn't matter where you go. If you're eating like crap, you are not going to be able to overcome that piece. Everything gets much better when your diet is under control. So I think there's been sayings like champions are made in the kitchen, all that good stuff. Anyway, so you've got a good diet, you've got a good nutritional plan. Now you're figuring out, what am I going to do here? Do I buy a piece of equipment for home? Do I join a gym? All right? All right, so let's dive in, folks. Let's talk about it. Rent or buy? Should I buy some gym equipment for the home? Should I join the local gym? All right, so that's a great question. Now, So rent or buy, it's the same thing of like leasing a car or buying it. So the first thing that I would suggest is you kind of got to take a look at some of your factors, some of your assumptions. You got to talk about your budget, or at least think about it if you're not going to talk with somebody else. How much are you willing to spend? Because, you can spend a little amount a month on gym memberships, but over the course of time, obviously that's going to add up. You can do some of your more chain like gyms for around $40-50 a month, but over the course of a year, you're looking $500, $600, $700. But then on the flip side, if you want a piece of home exercise equipment, you're looking at if you want one of those fancy schmancy Peloton things, you're talking thousands of dollars right there. You want a treadmill, you could be spending hundreds, but you could also be spending thousands. just like there's exercise bikes that are not Peloton that are hundreds as well. So you have to start to think about how much should you be spending on this. The next step after you kind of start to think about that budget piece is where are you in your fitness journey? Where are you? Are you brand new? You're thinking, I just need to get active again. I need to get back into shape or get into shape, whatever that goal is you want. Or are you a competitor of some kind? Are you going to be competing in powerlifting, competing in strongman competitions, anything along those lines, bodybuilding, whatever? Where are you? At the beginning? Are you in the middle? Do you have the discipline, the knowledge, the skill set? Are you looking to build it? So those things are all factors that you need to be aware of. One of the things about starting, let's jump into starting with buying home equipment. Some of the pros there, if you're starting to gather all of that stuff behind you, like you understand what you need to do, what you want to do, you can think about the cardio equipment versus the actual kind of weight stuff. So starting with some of the cardio equipment, you can buy a treadmill for a couple of $100, but upwards of $5,000 as well. Maybe 10. I don't know. Some of those really fancy self-momentum ones are over $5,000. If money's no object, awesome, go for it. But if it is, you got to think about it. But you also need to understand that you're going to get what you pay for with some of these things. Treadmills that cost $100, I wouldn't do it. It's just not worth it. I have an exercise bike in my basement. It's not fancy at all, but it's definitely a spinning bike, and it was only like $180. So that is worth it, but I got what I paid for. It's not hooked up to anything. There's no internet, no Wi-Fi. There's no RPM meter or gauge or anything. It's just there, plain. But so you need to keep that in mind. You're going to get what you pay for. One of the other things before you start buying equipment, where are you going to put it? Do you have a basement? Is the basement, is it heated? Is it air conditioned? Whatever. Are you going to be able to go there year round? Is there enough head space, like overhead space? If you're thinking about, maybe getting a Stairmaster or something that is more vertically, more vertical than horizontal. If you want to get dumbbells and you want to do overhead presses, even just regular dumbbell military press. I'm not talking about getting into some heavy duty CrossFit stuff, but just, can you go downstairs, stretch your hands out completely above your head without touching the ceiling? Think about that. Also think about, can you go downstairs and can you jump? Because sometimes you might be doing some type of plyometrics. Are you going to smack your head on a cross beam or the ceiling? That could be a limiting factor as well. Space for whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for a pull-up bar type of a thing, there's kind of cheap alternatives to put into your doorways. Do you have the right doorways for it? Is it a good long-term? Maybe it's a good kick-starting program to get you moving first. So a lot of things to consider. One thing I would suggest is looking on something like eBay or Facebook Messenger might be good too. Facebook Marketplace, not Messenger. Generally, you can find a lot of used equipment here, and it's generally a lot cheaper than buying stuff new. So again, if you're looking for something really high end, maybe you're going to want to buy it brand new because you want the warranty and so forth. But if you're going to go and buy some dumbbells or a bench or something, it's a great alternative because somebody else has already bought it and they're not using it anymore, and they're probably getting a lot of death threats or at least stern looks from somebody else in the household saying, get rid of that coat rack. So with that kind of brings us to some of the cons. Is the equipment too close? Meaning, if it's sitting, where are you going to put it? So maybe you're going to put it in the living room. You're going to put your exercise bike over in the living room or in your bedroom. Is it too close? Meaning, you're going to come in, you're going to hang your coat on it, you're going to hang your bag on it, and you're not going to use it for what it's supposed to be. It happens all the time. Also, a con is you got to think about what you want to buy. And again, that ties back to what are you trying to achieve? What do you want to do? So I spoke a little bit about, like the pros and cons of expense on some of these things. General fitness, it's a lot easier because you could buy an exercise bike relatively cheaply as opposed to maybe a treadmill or a Stairmaster or a row machine. You can buy dumbbells. If you're looking into getting weights, I'd start with dumbbells. It's the cheapest option, and it's the most versatile, in my opinion. You can go online, local, like I said, and get yourself a couple of used dumbbells. Get maybe two. Get some that are pretty light, and then some that are a little bit heavier. Don't worry about getting 10s, 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up to 100. You don't need to worry about that. Start with a couple, and then as you start to earn your way into more weights, meaning you need more diversity of weight, and you're exercising consistently, then reward yourself and buy some more. But start off slow. Okay, it also, the dumbbells, they also allow more diversity. So I was saying that. And what I mean is, you can do every body part with dumbbells. For overall fitness, you can do a full body workout with dumbbells and just regular body weight exercises. If you get yourself, if you think you need to get a bench so you can do bench press, like I said, if you're not going to be competing in a powerlifting meet or a bench press competition, I don't even know if it's really worth it. Or even a bench if you want to be able to do flies or other types of exercises where you're sitting on something sturdy. You can do them standing. You can do them sitting on the ground. Get yourself started that way. Don't think that you need to really go overboard and buy all of this elaborate equipment. Get yourself a couple of dumbbells and get rolling. You can do everything. Check it out. You can do any arm exercise. There's always versions of everything that you can do that way. Kettlebells are a good one too, but I wouldn't start with kettlebells, especially if you're not really familiar with the movements. If you're kind of compounding this with, working with a trainer, then sure, go for it. They're very versatile as well. Then moving into kind of like getting yourself into that space where you're going to get the full Olympic weights, whether they're bumper weights, those are the ones that bounce on the ground. You see the CrossFitters use them, or just standard Olympic weights, the steel plates. So personally, I've got a squat rack in the basement with a bar and a bunch of Olympic weights. I don't have a ton, but again, I don't lift a ton of weights, so I've got enough to keep me challenged and moving. So temper your purchasing impulses. A lot of times when you're trying to pull the trigger on becoming much more healthy, you're thinking about, I need to turn over a new leaf. I need to go out and buy a whole bunch of stuff. Go easy. Go easy, folks. You don't need to go nuts there. And in terms of like a cardio equipment, so that was a little bit on weights. In terms of cardio, I wouldn't go nuts and buy yourself, unless you've got the money, I wouldn't go out and buy spend thousands of dollars on a piece of exercise equipment. You can kind of get the job done a little bit more economically. But also using a piece of cardio equipment like a bike or a treadmill, sometimes it's a lot easier because anybody can get up on that treadmill and just go for a walk. Especially like right now here in the Northeast, it is damn cold outside. So I'm not going to be going outside to get any cardio exercise. It's just too cold. So it does benefit to have something indoors. So I definitely understand that as well. So let's see what I hit. I hit cost. I hit the, is it too close? What to buy? Well, some of the pros of it, when you're talking about buying stuff for your home, some of the pros to kind of counter some of those cons and stuff to think about is it's damn convenient. It's right there. I woke up this morning at like 5:15, and after I took care of the puppy, after I took Axel outside, jumped on the bike. I did my some high intensity interval training on there just like that. Didn't have to get dressed. Didn't have to drive to a gym. Makes it really easy. And then also when I've got my kids, I can exercise downstairs. I don't have to worry about I can't take them to the gym, or do I take them? It's a distraction. That's something to think about as well, because if you don't have a situation where your kids are old enough, or if you don't have kids, or whatever that situation may be, working out in your home, it's very, very convenient. But it's that balance of, is it too close? Sometimes people really like to segment it, so you kind of get away from that coat rack effect, or maybe I should call it the coat rack paradigm, where the equipment's there all the time and it turns into a chair versus something you want to use it for. Sometimes there's definitely the mindset. There's people that think of where I need to compartmentalize or segment it. This is my home and rest, and by taking that short trip, or sometimes a long trip, to the gym, I'm now moving and shifting my mindset from the home piece to exercise, to training. And when I get there, I'm 100% focused. I don't have to worry about my spouse, my friends, my kids, or anybody yelling downstairs saying, hey, where's the remote? Don't have to worry about that when you're at the gym. So that's I guess it's a con of the home gym, but it's a pro of the gym. Let's see. I'm taking a peek at my list here. Cost, the convenience. Honestly, a pro of the home gym, it's yours. I love that stuff. It's down there. It's my equipment. I've had it forever. And I don't have to share it. So at the gym, I don't have to wait for somebody to get off of a machine or to get away from a specific piece of equipment. I also don't have to go hunting around the whole damn place because some dumbass didn't re-rack their weights. If my weights are a mess downstairs, it's because of this dumbass, not somebody else. So that's a pro of the home gym. I love it. And also, you don't, like I said before, you don't have to buy everything all at once. You can do it over time. I purchased, I got the squat rack and the bar and a bench with some weight all at once. And then over time, I purchased more dumbbells. I kind of went backwards to the advice I'm giving you. At the time, I was competing in powerlifting, so I needed the squat rack and a bench to go into the rack so I could do my bench press, my squats, and my deadlifts. I've not obviously, but I don't do that anymore. So I've kind of moved into a more holistic approach to my training. But I did it over time, and I still don't. I don't have a full set of weights. I do have a lot from I think from 10. I think the heaviest dumbbells I have are 50, which I probably could get. I probably could use some 70s and 80s and stuff like that. But I make do with what I have. It's just a balance of how much do I want to spend versus how badly do I really need those massively heavy dumbbells. I'm not quite there yet, but I probably will get some more over time. Let's see. So there's some of the home gym stuff, pros and cons. One of the other things from a home gym piece that could be very beneficial are exercise bands or resistance bands. I do have some of those, and they're really cool. I love them. I use them for my stretching and for like prehab, rehab, warm-ups. And when I travel, I take them with me and I use them there because you can do virtually anything with them instead of having to worry about lugging around dumbbells and stuff. So resistance bands, dumbbells, really good starting points because you can do lots of different workouts with them. And that's not even including some of the rehabilitation stuff that I've gotten over time, like a inversion table and a hard foam roller, things like that. That's definitely what I was talking about before, about you can get these things over time. You don't need to worry about it all at once. And again, that goes back to where are you in your fitness journey? Okay, so one of the last things on the home gym, it ties to where you are in the fitness journey, just like I was saying, is if you're really new, sometimes buying weightlifting equipment or resistance training dumbbells and stuff, you have to know what you're doing in terms of the exercise movements. You're not going to want to jump right in and start trying to do a clean and jerk by yourself, but you're going to want to start with your more basic exercises. Not that if you join a gym, you don't have to worry about that, but just sometimes when you're joining a gym, there's different machines there that limit your mobility and almost force you to do it in the appropriate manner that you can. You don't have to worry about buying a ton of these things for your home gym. You can just walk in and do a little circuit on some Precursor machines to get yourself going. Now, if you're familiar with basic exercise movements, then you don't need to worry about it. Or if you have somebody that you're going to be working out with, like a buddy that's going to come over, somebody you live with, whatever. Or if you're working with a trainer that comes to your house or whatever the case may be. Just different factors you need to think about. Now, joining a gym, like I said, you can join a gym, but you're going to be spending, I'm not taking geography into account here, but just up here in the Northeast, you can be spending anywhere from $40 to $50 at the low end, and you can go even higher if you're going into things like that 40 or 50 is kind of like your box gyms that are open 24/7, that type of a thing. And then you've got different pricing as you start to move into more specialty gyms, whether they're CrossFit or more class-oriented type things or specialty things. So cost is definitely a little bit different here, but then there's also a lot of pros, meaning once you do that, you don't have to worry about buying equipment, because even at one of these $40 or $50 a month gyms, like a 24-hour fitness or whatever, you're going to walk in and all the equipment's there for the most part. You don't have to worry about upkeep, meaning after a few months, if you need another set of dumbbells, they're there. So you're pretty good for the most part, which is definitely a pro. There's a lot of on-site support, meaning there's trainers. Now, trainers can also be a con, because if you go to a bad one, but we're not even going to talk about that. But most gyms will offer like small consulting free of charge. Most gyms, especially if you just kind of walk in and say, how do you use this machine? How do you do this exercise? They're going to show you. And I would definitely go to the trainer than randomly asking somebody who happens to be doing it. So that's definitely a pro as well. Let's see some of the cons with it. Like I was saying, it's all the opposites of the pros for the home gym. You got to share your equipment. If it's not one of those 24/7 gyms, it's only specific times, so you have to get there. If you're doing group classes, which are awesome, but they're only set up at certain times. So, that's just one of the things you got to deal with. You just have to make sure you're joining the right gym for you. Something to think about, again, I didn't really say this before, but if you're training, say, for something like strongman, it makes it a hell of a lot easier when you join a gym that's got all the equipment than having to buy all that shit for yourself. I mean, think about it. I think it's Brian Shaw has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on all the equipment in his room. He's a world's strongest man competitor, won the competition a number of times. So it's just an extreme example. But going out and buying yourself a set of Atlas stones or some kind of massive log for overhead lifting, it's a little bit different than buying a set of dumbbells on the internet. Just all kinds of things to think about. So that is the stuff. Those are pros, those are cons. So what's the answer? What's the best one? Well, I use a combination. I'm not a beginner when it comes to exercise. I've been doing this a long time. I'm not an expert, I know it, but I kind of know what I'm doing to an extent. Now, I like working out in my house because of the convenience. I feel like I can become much more consistent there. I love the first thing in the morning and just do it and go in. My personal situation, I have kids. I can't always bring them with me to the gym. Now, when the kids are not with me, it's awesome. I can go to the gym and I can lift there as well, which is kind of nice. It's a really good balance. Now, that being said, there's a budget piece. It worked for me. I purchased my home equipment a number of years ago, and I slowly have added stuff in, and that way it makes it a little bit easier. I'm not doing it all at once. So you have to think about what's good for you from your budget, what's good for you for your situation, how you can do it. Can you get to the gym consistently? Or is it easier to work out in your basement? Do you have space for that home gym? So these are the things you need to think about when you are considering, do I create a home gym or do I join a gym? So hopefully some of this stuff is helpful to you. If you have any questions, like I said earlier in this episode, feel free to reach out, dogliferadio@yahoo.com. And thanks. Have a great one.